Welcome to another edition of Rust Rants. I'm John Rust, and I come on and go off about, well, whatever's honking me off today. Regular viewers of this podcast know that we like to do Feel Good Fridays, where we like to have a more lighthearted atmosphere here. Well, that lighthearted atmosphere is going to come a little early this week because I hereby decree today Wacky Wednesday. And for this first Wacky Wednesday, I'm not going to talk about a current event. Instead, I'm going to highlight an event that happened decades ago because today is the 44th anniversary of Disco Demolition Night. And we here at Rust Rants will mark this memorable, infamous event. Pick your own adjective. Anyway, quick background for those not familiar. Disco Demolition Night was the brainchild of Chicago DJ Steve Dahl, who hated disco. I mean, he hated disco more than I hate modern pop music, the New York Yankees, and coconut all rolled into one. So he came up with this idea of having fans bring disco records to Comiskey Park, and in between games of a doubleheader, they'd blow them up. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. When the records were detonated, it blew a hole into the field. Thousands of fans stormed the field. Riot police were sent in to restore order, and the White Sox had to forfeit the game to the Tigers because the playing field was deemed unplayable. What a surprise when something like this happens. Well, that's the bare bones of it, but there was a lot more leading up to this event on July 12th, 1979 that many people may not be aware of. Now, one reason the White Sox decided to do this was because the team in 1979 sucked. Well, actually, the White Sox sucked for most of the 1970s. They'd usually draw anywhere between 10 to 15,000 fans. Sometimes they'd even have under 10,000 fans per game. And old Comiskey Park could hold probably about 45,000. So the stadium would look kind of desolate. So White Sox officials thought with Steve Dahl's popularity on the radio, he might bring in an additional 5,000 fans. So the White Sox front office planned for 20,000 fans that night. Well, Dahl promoted this event so hard that 50,000 people showed up. Maybe not too surprising when the promotion was, if you bring a disco album with you, you only have to pay 98 cents for your ticket. That was a play on Dahl's radio station, which was 97.9 FM. Also, since the second game of the doubleheader was a makeup from a game earlier in the season that got rained out, and that game had another promotion, which was a discount night for teenagers, well, the White Sox decided they would run that promotion side by side with Disco Demolition Night. So, what happens when 50,000 people show up at a stadium that holds 45,000? Well, the ones who couldn't get tickets hop the turnstiles or climb through windows. So White Sox officials sent pretty much all their security guards to the stadium entrances to make sure no one snuck in, which meant none of the guards were actually inside the stadium. And with the beer flowing and, well, let's just call it the devil's lettuce being used, and thousands of fans clutching disco records that were supposed to be dropped off in boxes in the front of the stadium, but those boxes were filled to the brim, so not everyone could deposit the records there. Well, can you say recipe for disaster? Fans started throwing their records onto the field, along with beer bottles and firecrackers and lighters. Play had to be stopped several times, but they did finish game one. So when they blew up the disco records in between games, had no surprise, fans rushed the field and just went nuts. And there were estimates anywhere between 3,000 to 7,000 fans were on the field. But here's what I find amazing about it. With all those thousands of fans on the field, there were only 39 arrests made on Disco Demolition Night for disorderly conduct. And here's one little interesting tidbit. One of the fans in attendance who ran onto the field, none other than the star of the Green Mile, the late Michael Clark Duncan. And there you have it. Rust Rants looks back on Disco Demolition Night 44 years ago today. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of Rust Rants. Be sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe across all of KYCA's social media: Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Twitter. Check us out on KYCA.info. Be sure to smash the like button, share this video, leave a comment on this video. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Till next time, I'm John Rust. I will see you soon.